Chapter 9. The Feast. When Alex woke from his deep slumber, he saw that the Hive had placed Reyna at the foot of their doorstep, bringing Alex to a hyper-aware state of suspicion. "Why are you here?" Alex asked. "The Hive has won a great victory. We're celebrating with a feast." "What victory?" "You'll see." The words worried him, as in Loyalist eyes, a victory could mean the collective's failure. From behind Reyna, a skinny frame of a young woman emerged. Gianna. Alex restricted himself from acting in recognition of the girl. "A new generation is coming," Reyna claimed. Gianna looked ashamed. A blossoming of tears formed around her crimson eyes. All the questions that Alex had were tortuously postponed. "I live on the restricted side of the island," Gianna blurted. "If you see animals—" "Quiet," Reyna warned. "Shouldn't she be with the other kids?" "She chose to serve." Gianna nodded in agreement. Alex guessed that she only did so because of Reyna's prying senses that would report any misgivings back to their new master. "You seem confused," Reyna noticed. "I'm happy with my role here," Alex lied. "I was a soldier before, so it's not much of a change. I'm just wondering about the people who are forced to become something that they don't want to be." "What was she before coming here?" Reyna asked. The question posed made Alex realize that he knew next to nothing about Gianna's life before the mission. His extended silence pushed Gianna to answer for herself. "I did nothing. I was nothing. I would have been nothing if I had stayed." "It's the story of us all. If you want to keep your life preserved, don't spill your location at unnecessary times." "She's young, she didn't know any better," Alex said. "That goes for both of you." "You're right, I'm sorry," Alex stated. Gianna looked at him with heavy desperation, clearly wanting him to break her free from the Hive's grip. "Is something happening to the Hive?" Alex asked as a bid to free himself from compliance. "In what way?" "It had to leave us twice when I came here. If any extra help is needed, I want to do everything I can to protect it. It has adopted customs from our world. That includes needing its own space to meditate. Nothing that should be of concern," Reyna claimed. Reyna's unsatisfactory answer led Alex into a heightened state of suspicion. A monstrous alien needing to meditate seemed like a rushed lie. "How much time?" "Sometimes minutes, sometimes hours. Our only concern is following the place that it gives you. Focusing on doing so is what saved me." "Us," Gianna echoed convincingly. "You don't miss your old place?" Alex asked. Her people didn't care about her. "They were horrible," Gianna admitted. "Do you know what happened?" Reyna asked. "No," Alex said, "and I'm the person who told Sheila about Andy. He wanted to lead an election. I reported him to Sheila the day right after he told me. She said that it took me too long to say anything about it." "You're not wrong about them," Alex said. "They don't matter now. You can choose your own path." Reyna dismissed Gianna and took Alex to the dining quarters. Hive bodies did not exist within the environment of loyalists being serviced with alcoholic drinks paired with mysterious foods. The bustling landscape showcased an alternative side to the loyalists. They laughed with one another, a contrast to their reputations as cold-blooded killers. Alex hoped that when the war came, they would lay down their arms peacefully. Alex crouched down to Takeo. "This is our chance, everybody's here. The Hive is still on the island. We'll find out where it went, get the others, and get out." "You're being too hopeful. Do I have to turn for Patton for help?" "He won't be much of one." Alex spotted Patton seated at a table far away from his own, ingesting his first helping of alcohol. Alex began to rise. "He's growing up, nothing you can really do to stop it," Takeo warned. "He needs to be in peak condition." "Alex, I really want to leave too, it's just—" "I'll do it myself," Alex decided as he prepared to venture into the unknown. "Silence," multiple voices harshly demanded from the greenery. Alex remained in his seat. The Hive slithered forward in the greatest sum that Alex had seen together. Two hostages were bound together in a single file line by a rope chain. The first was a woman unmarked by tattoos. The other Alex instantly recognized. Reese sauntered forward with tired eyes. Alex's fists tightened. His desire was to rise, cut Reese from the chain and flee. An impossible act without death following for both men. Takeo shared the sentiment as he leaned forward with a harsh frown, showcasing similar aggression. "Victory, it is ours to withhold, kneel." The hostages fell with compliance. Alex's mind burned with reckless ideas to save Reese. Your identity? The Hive asked as one of its bodies withdrew a needle. I'm Tina. I used to be a part of the Unifiers. The woman was independent in her speech, free from the Hive's true grasp. The vial was injected into her neck. The woman flinched and closed her defeated eyes. Her body went limp. Within seconds, the woman's eyes opened. They had changed from brown to green. She had been taken. The Hive had cultivated a way to steal a body within seconds, a dangerous turn from the hours it once took. She is mine. The message came from the bodies of the Hive, the woman included. Reese shuddered in fear while cheers of applause came from the Loyalists. Enough, the Hive said. The body of the taken woman was given a knife which she used to plunge into her stomach. Green did not come from the stab. Instead, a river of red came from the taken woman, yielding horrifying implications. The Hive's green blood was what made it distinct from free men, the saving grace of humanity. With it gone, the Hive could lurk anywhere. This has to be a trick, Alex stated in horror. A second booming wave of approval came from the crowd. Silence, the Hive demanded again as it approached Reese. Alex had to look away in order to avoid watching a man who did not deserve it have his body taken in a petty demonstration. Your identity? The Hive asked. Reese, from the Libertarians, and you can go fuck yourself. Another example. Wait, Alex interjected, take my body instead. All heads turned towards him, the Hive, Loyalists, Reese, Takeo. Why? It's my fault he's here, I should take his place. True bravery. I was doing fine, Reese insisted as he clenched his fist in a firm pattern. A circular blue beam came from his hand, which enraptured the surrounding area. All those loyal to the Hive rose to quickly aid their masters, holding onto the bodies that flailed with unrestricted chaos. Kill them, destroy the castle, take out the aircraft. Random commands rose from the Hive's mouths, not meant for those present. The Hive had lost its cohesiveness. The bodies no longer spoke in a chorus, but instead a tangled mess of commands. The Loyalists attempted to absorb the change. Some held the bodies with soft grazes and shouted for the Hive to remember its origin. The Loyalists were in dire fear. Alex saw opportunity. Now we go. It's too dangerous, this could be a trick, Takeo replied. You're a coward, Alex insulted. Alex ran to Patton only to discover that the boy had passed out. Circling his head were 6 finished bottles of alcohol, the cause of his slumber. He turned to Reese as an ally. Alex sliced the rope, picked him up and headed towards the restricted zone. While doing so, the Hive bodies emanated solid gray from their mouths and eyes, rendering a cohort of unusable corpses. When the Hive ceased speaking, Loyalists accused one another of treason. Confrontations that resulted in physical brawls, granting Alex the avenue to dash into the forest. He surged for a few minutes before placing Reese's body against a tree. What? Reese asked. Where have you been? Alex, David's here, he made this. Reese opened his hand, revealing a small gray disc with a dim blue glow in the center. I stole it. Where were you? Take a guess. What do I need to watch out for in the restricted zone? Alex, Reese turned to slumber once again. Alex shook. Him then hit him, but received nothing. Before leaving Reese, Alex instinctively came close to cutting his skin to check if it had been taken, but opted out. It was no longer a useful act. Alex rushed down the main path. Hive bodies were scattered throughout, sharing the same fate as those within the dining hall. Dead, unable to fight. A grim fate for the host who had occupied it. Gianna's words rang true as Alex discovered a field full of various foods which had just begun growing in the form of small stalks and trees. In front of the open field was a large gray building, a representation of the old world. It had 3 wings, a large cylinder within the center point of the building that extended high, a shocking lack of security defending the perimeter. Only 3 held the line by continuously circling the building. Alex exhaled from the weight of his heavy decision. If he continued towards the facility, he could retrieve David, Reese, and possibly Lonnie with Gianna. They had the chance to escape that night. If he returned, then it meant there may not be another prospect to escape again. A hand brushed Alex's shoulder. His natural training took over and he attacked, almost striking the source, stopping himself when he saw it was Takeo. In his hand was a CR-99 rifle. Its stock was a red cache of liquid that released corrosive material. Take it, Takeo offered. Both men turned their attention to the guards. Once the guard at the front end was halfway through its distance, Takeo came up from behind and impaled his throat with his sword. The blood that spewed painted the gray walls red. Takeo recovered his weapon, a seeking shotgun that allowed the user to control where its shots went. Alex crouched along the right wall with perked ears prepared to meet the enemy, searching for the source of the disturbance. The moment the enemy turned the corner, Takeo sliced his arm. The scream that followed defeated the prospect of further stealth. "What's in the building?" Alex asked. His question went unanswered as Takeo beheaded the enemy. "Why?" He was too loud. The third enemy emerged from the sky. He was equipped with maneuverability from his jetpack, which contained 2 wings and 4 jets of flame. A long hose attached to his back extended into his hand. Alex sent a shot upwards. The red liquid of his rifle was unable to reach the enemy. The enemy released the trigger, and from his barrel a flame of fire was released downward. Alex jumped away, avoiding the brunt of the attack, but a small lick of fire came into contact with his pants, then his flesh. While Alex extinguished the flame by rolling through the ground, the enemy was distracted by a shot that came from Takeo. Even with the capability to seek its body, the man managed to evade them by spinning, leading Takeo's bullets to smash against one another. "Who are you?" the antagonist demanded. He hovered high enough so that neither Alex nor Takeo could make an accurate assault. "Come here and find out," Takeo taunted. The enemy shot a series of fireballs directly towards Alex, changing his strategy from streamlined flames. Alex jumped away swiftly at first in avoidance, but as they continued, he was forced into a panicked run. Takeo released desperate shots towards the enemy, who dodged them by dashing a few feet away once they came near him. Lacking forward momentum in their position, Alex opted to travel towards the facility's front entrance, luring the antagonist closer. As the flamecaster lowered their position, Takeo was able to shoot one bullet into its shoulder and the other into its right leg. Neither penetrated the armor, but the enemy reacted with an enraged scream and a blast of fire towards the door. The incoming heat rushed towards Alex. His heart pounded with fury as the environment's humidity rose. In the last moments before the combustion reached the door, Alex hauled himself right, avoiding the attack. Its twirling smorgasbord of red, orange, and yellow contrasted the night sky as it smashed against the entrance. The flames spread in altered directions and evaporated in a puff of smoke. Alex stumbled away from it as the remnants of fire reached their hands towards his legs. The flames, oddly, did not cause a fire within the grass. They instead painted black marks within the earth in the form of twisted lines and circular splotches. The enemy's attack against him briefly ceased. Alex turned to discover why. They had chosen to attack Takeo, returning to cascading fireballs. Takeo jumped, rolled, and sidestepped. After doing so, he lifted his shotgun but was not given enough time to release a shot. With the flamecaster distracted, Alex released a cache of his corrosive liquid which smashed against the jetpack's right wing, instantly throwing off its flight pattern. They sputtered upwards, then unintentionally nosedived. Before harshly hitting the dirt below, they regained a semblance of control by dimming the working jets and digging their heels into the earth, managing to stay upright as a trail of grass was uprooted through their backwards momentum. Alex and Takeo subsequently attacked the enemy. Alex missed, the crimson liquid from his weapon adding a bubbling red into the brown soil. Both of Takeo's bullets embedded within a different shoulder. Blood spit from the wounds and the antagonist fell. "Again," Alex shouted. But their second opportunity didn't come to fruition, as they were cut short by the mountain of fire that came from the flamecaster, eating their attacks and shrouding its position. "You take the right, I'll..." Before Alex could finish his command, Takeo had dashed to the right side, completely sidelining Alex's plans. Alex huffed and moved left. His run was ended when a sphere of fire rushed towards him. He collapsed to the ground in avoidance. During the evasion, Alex's weapon slipped from his fingers, leaving him vulnerable. The flamecaster stood behind circles of smoke that danced within the air, cementing itself in one spot as a final stand. It altered between casting fireballs between Alex and Takeo. Takeo had made it a few feet ahead. Whenever the enemy's assault came towards him, he used it as an opportunity to dodge and spring forward. Alex copied his style of movement, becoming desperate as he weaved through the consistent onslaught of flames when he realized that he was without a weapon. "Takeo, save your ammo," he warned. Takeo was already practicing frugality when Alex spoke, rendering Alex's words a useless distraction. The flamecaster responded to Takeo's patterns as he focused more of its inferno towards him, backing away slowly. After a large fireball, Takeo dove and released 2 of his shots, which directly landed into the enemy's chest. The shock that came from it caught him off guard, and he fell backwards into the ground. Alex and Takeo ran towards him. The enemy spoke. Father would be impressed. "Who's that?" Takeo asked. From the man's wounds, green mixed with red, then turned into concentrated gray. Answering Takeo's question, the man was one of the Hive's children. "Back away," Alex instructed, hoping that the man had not seen their faces. "Why?" Takeo asked, stepping closer. "He wants people like you," the enemy wheezed. The man popped upwards. Alex turned away, hastily hiding his identity, and marched towards his fallen CR-99. Takeo remained still. "Don't try to hide. You'll be found out eventually." Alex marched back with a downturned head and fired a trio of corrosive shots into the flamecaster. The first hit his stomach, and he screamed with pain. The second landed on his mouth, stifling his scream. The third struck further into his exposed skull, ending his life. "He would have revealed us to Conrad," Alex explained. "Maybe he already knows," Takeo suggested. "Let's hope not." Alex and Takeo entered the facility with the use of a grenade. The hallway was black and silent. The only light provided was the purple glow of Takeo's sword. As the light only covered a few feet in front of them, it was a sudden shock to see a corpse on the ground. Crystallized gray oozed from its mouth. Another dead host. Upon further inspection, they found the hall was crowded with bodies that shared the same fate. The Hive had failed in its power. The hope that it was dead spread through Alex's mind. There were 3 hallways ahead, providing 3 diverging paths. To the right, Alex decided. At the end of the corpse-filled hallway was a room. Within the room, a meeting of active technology took place, more than Alex had seen in one setting before. The walls had active screens beaming with energy, displaying different scenes. Maps littered with green dots, historic texts of ancient news, and weapons from the new and old worlds were showcased on the walls. The light from the screens whitened the room, contrasting the darkness outside. "We should go," Takeo said. "We have time. We could find—" "I'm here to look for David." This reminded Alex of his original purpose. "Let's hope it's dead," Alex said as he stepped over a corpse. "Maybe. How would you know?" "The coughing. It's barely around. Now a bunch of its bodies are dying at random. Then we could avoid fighting and come to terms." "Term? The collective is gone. Who will fight?" "Zone 6 is gone," Alex corrected. "I won't go back to fighting for them." "Why not?" "They won't accept me with this," Takeo said as he pointed to his forehead marking. "If we achieve something, they won't mind," Alex said. Within the back end of the room, they found a miniature hub nowhere near a healthy state. There was no green within its cracks, which were instead sealed by hard gray. Its rising breath was cut. The left side of the dome was sinking. Seeing how the intimidating enemy was being brought down to its knees did not fulfill Alex as he'd expected. All he could think about was the loss of the Hive's children, and how each body belonged to a host with a stolen life. Alex touched the hub and felt nothing. It was truly dead. The item of the island that Alex thought was possibly the Hive's heart ended up being useless. Chattering voices came from the hall, urgency pushing through their voices. Takeo disengaged his sword. "Time to go," Takeo said. Alex agreed, and both men fled back to the mainland.